Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we are diving into a really fascinating new finding about one of the biggest diet trends out there, time-restricted eating. Now, you might think you know how it works, but it turns out science has just thrown us a major curveball. Okay, let's get right into it.
This right here is the big question, isn't it? For years, the buzz has been all about timing, that timing is everything. But is it really the secret key to unlocking our metabolic health? Well, we're going to dig into a groundbreaking study that puts that very idea to the ultimate test. All right, so first things first, let's just get on the same page. We're talking about time-restricted eating, which you'll hear called TRE. It's a super popular form of intermittent fasting, and boy does it come with some big promises. The concept itself is pretty simple, right? Instead of getting stressed out about what you're eating, you just focus on when you're eating. You squish all your meals for the day into one specific time window, say 8 or 10 hours, and then you fast for the other 14 to 16 hours. And the reason it's so popular is because of all these amazing benefits people are hoping for. Things like better insulin sensitivity, lower blood pressure, weight loss, you name it. A lot of studies have suggested TRE is this absolute powerhouse for our metabolic health. That's the story we've all heard. But here's where it gets really interesting. So, scientists started asking this really important question. Are all these great benefits actually coming from the timing of the meals? Or is it just because people who limit their eating window, well, they just naturally end up eating less food overall? So what's the real hero of the story here? Is it some kind of magic in the eating window itself, all perfectly synced up with our body's internal clocks? Or is it just good old-fashioned calorie reduction wearing a clever disguise? To figure that out, you need a very smart experiment. And that is exactly what a team of researchers at the German Institute of Human Nutrition went and did. They designed this brilliant study specifically to pull apart the effect of meal timing from the effect of how many calories you eat. So they ran this 10-week crossover trial with 31 women who had overweight or obesity. And a crossover trial is awesome. You know why? Because it means every single person in the study gets to try both versions of the diet. They're basically their own control group, which makes the results way more reliable. So here's what they tried. 2 totally different 8-hour eating windows. For a couple of weeks, they did an early TRE, eating only between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Then they took a break and switched to a late TRE, eating between 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. But, and this is so important, there was one absolutely critical rule. This is the key to the whole thing. It was an isocaloric study. That means the participants were coached to eat the exact same amount of food and the exact same number of calories during both the early and the late eating windows. The only, and I mean the only, thing that changed was the time on the clock. This is how you can finally separate timing from calories. Okay, so the stage is set perfectly. With an experiment designed this well, everyone was probably waiting to see these amazing metabolic benefits of early eating just roll in. But what the researchers found was not what anybody expected. The number one goal of this study was to see if meal timing, all by itself, could improve insulin sensitivity. That's one of the biggest promises of TRE. So did it work? The answer was a resounding no. And what's really wild is just how consistent the results were. As long as the calories stayed the same, neither the early nor the late eating window made any real difference for insulin sensitivity, glucose levels, cholesterol, or inflammation. The supposed metabolic magic of meal timing, it just wasn't there. Okay, you're probably thinking, but what about weight loss? I mean, that's why most people try this stuff. Surely there was an effect there, right?
Well, they did see some minor weight loss in both groups. The early group lost a little over a kilogram, the late group lost a bit less than half a kilogram. But, and this is brilliant, the researchers noted that even with all the counseling, the early eating group still accidentally ate about 167 fewer calories a day. And this just perfectly proves the study's point. Even that tiny unintentional calorie drop had a bigger impact on the scale than the timing itself did.
So, you might be thinking, case closed. Timing doesn't matter after all. But hold on, because the study had another, even more surprising twist. It turns out meal timing did have a powerful effect, just not where anyone was looking. 40 minutes. Let that number sink in for a second. That's how much later the body's internal clock, its circadian clock, was running when people ate late compared to when they ate early. Food timing was literally acting like a powerful reset button for their biology. And this wasn't just some abstract number on a lab report. No, it had real-world consequences. When they were eating late, people reported going to sleep about 9 minutes later waking up 20 minutes later. Their whole sleep schedule shifted. The timing of their meals was literally changing their sleep patterns. How crazy is that?
So what does this all mean? Let's put all these pieces together and see if we can build a new and honestly a much more interesting understanding of how time-restricted eating actually works.
Here's the bottom line. This study strongly suggests that those metabolic benefits we always connect with TRE, like better insulin sensitivity and lower cholesterol, are probably driven by the simple fact that people just end up eating fewer calories, not by the timing. But meal timing is far from useless. It's an incredibly powerful signal, a time giver as scientists call it, that helps reset and shift our internal body clocks.
And that leaves us with this really provocative final thought. For years, we've looked at meal timing as a tool for weight loss. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if the true power of timing our meals has nothing to do with managing our metabolism, but everything to do with managing our internal clocks, helping us align our bodies with our daily lives for better energy, and maybe most importantly, for better sleep?